$80 doesn't buy much these days. I stared at the crisp bills Tyson had placed on the kitchen counter, arranged in a neat fan like he was doing me some grand favour. My weekly allowance, as if I were a child getting pocket money instead of a 38-year-old woman trying to feed two adults. My name is Paula, and this morning marked the 127th time I'd had to ask my husband for grocery money. Yes, I counted. You start keeping track of these things when every dollar becomes a power play. Remember to budget better this time, Tyson said, adjusting his designer tie in the hallway mirror. Last week, you went over by $12. I bit my tongue, remembering the reason. He'd invited his friend Brian over for dinner without warning, and I'd had to stretch the meals. Actually, about that, the kitchen faucet is leaking again. Could we? Paula? He turned, giving me that look, the one that made me feel 2 inches tall. We talked about this. Times are tight. We need to be careful with expenses. Right, careful with expenses, like his new golf clubs last month, or the business dinners that seemed to multiply every week. But I swallowed my retort, watching him stride out to his BMW, the same car he'd bought without consulting me, using our joint savings. My phone buzzed, my sister Faith calling for our morning check-in. Let me guess, she said when I answered. It's allowance day. Ding, ding, ding. Winner gets to try feeding 2 people on pocket change. Paula, this isn't normal. You know that, right? Mark and I had our issues before the divorce, but he never controlled money like this. I sighed, pulling up the household budget spreadsheet Tyson insisted I maintain. He says we're tight on funds. The market's unstable. His business needs cash flow. And you believe him? Faith's voice sharpened. Have you ever actually seen the accounts? All of them? I paused, realizing I hadn't. Not in years. He handles the finances, says I'm not good with money. Because he tells you that, repeatedly, while controlling every penny you spend. Faith's eye roll was audible. When was the last time you checked your joint account? My stomach churned. I should probably do that. You think? Listen, I'm meeting my lawyer friend Sophia for lunch tomorrow. Come with us, just to talk. Faith? I can't. Tyson would what? It's lunch, not a bank heist. After we hung up, I sat at the computer, telling myself I was just looking for an old grocery receipt to justify last week's overspending. But my fingers typed in our online banking password instead. Access, denied, changed. I tried another combination. Success. The joint checking account showed the usual pattern. My old marketing job's retirement fund deposit from years ago. Tyson's regular transfers out. Bill payments. Nothing suspicious, but a notification popped up. Tyson's work email was still logged in on our shared laptop. I shouldn't look. I shouldn't. Subject: Vegas trip. Confirmation: Bellagio suite package. Dear Mr. Shepherd, thank you for your reservation. I clicked it. 5 nights, luxury suite, premium dining package, golf course access. Total cost: more than my entire year's worth of allowances. The room spun. Times are tight, he said. We need to be careful with expenses, he said. The leaky faucet would have cost maybe $100 to fix. Another email caught my eye. From Brian. Can't wait for Vegas, man. Paula has no clue, right? Better keep it that way, considering what happened last time. Last time? What last time? My hand shook as I opened our old tax returns, stored in the desktop's documents folder. Something wasn't adding up, literally. The numbers Tyson showed me monthly never matched these figures, not even close. The front door clicked. He was home early. I quickly closed everything, heart pounding. Hey, honey, he called out. Quick question, did you move any money around in the accounts? Some weird notification came up. I thought of the $80 on the counter, of the leaky faucet, of Vegas. No, I said, voice steady. Must be a glitch. You know I never touch the accounts. I'm not good with money, remember? He smiled, patting my shoulder as he passed. That's my gal. Always honest. I watched him walk upstairs, my hands clenched under the desk. Honest. Right. Well, honey, that makes one of us. My phone buzzed again. Faith. So, lunch tomorrow. Sophia's really good at financial advice. I looked at the $80, at the Vegas confirmation, at my reflection in the dark computer screen. You know what? Count me in. A Vegas trip? I kept my voice casual over dinner, watching Tyson's fork pause halfway to his mouth. Brian mentioned something about it at the barbecue. The lie slipped out easily. No barbecue, no mention, but I needed to see his reaction. Just a quick business thing, he said, resuming eating. Boring stuff. Man stuff? You wouldn't be interested. 5 nights at the Bellagio sounds pretty interesting to me. His head snapped up. The mask slipped for just a second before that condescending smile appeared. Been snooping through my emails, Paula? It was open on our shared laptop. I stabbed a piece of chicken. Funny how there's money for luxury suites, but not for fixing the faucet. You wouldn't understand the complexities of business networking. He reached across the table, patting my hand. This is why I handle the finances, sweetheart. You get emotional about money. I pulled my hand away. Right, emotional. Like when you bought your BMW without telling me? Or when you said we couldn't afford my mum's cancer treatments last year, so I had to beg Faith for help. That was different. How much is in our accounts, Tyson? All of them. He stood up, plate in hand. I'm not having this conversation. You're being hysterical. Hysterical? Because I asked about our joint finances. Our finances are fine. I manage them. End of discussion. He dropped his plate in the sink with a clatter. I have a late meeting. Don't wait up. After he left, I called Faith. He's at a late meeting, I told her again. Perfect timing. Get your laptop. I'm coming over with reinforcements. 20 minutes later, Faith arrived with Sophia, who turned out to be a sharp-eyed woman in her late 30s, with the kind of confidence I'd lost somewhere between I do and weekly allowances. Financial abuse is more common than you'd think, Sophia said, reviewing the documents I'd gathered. But this is methodical. Look at these transfers. She pointed to a pattern of money moving between accounts, always just under amounts that would trigger notifications. There's at least one hidden account, Faith added, probably more. How do you know? I asked, because I hired a forensic accountant after you mentioned the cancer treatments. David's been tracking things quietly. Faith pulled out a folder. You're not going to like what he found. She was right. I didn't like it. Not the secret savings account in both our names that I'd never seen. Not the suspicious transfers to his secretary, Natasha. Not the steady draining of my retirement fund that he'd promised to invest. Classic pattern, Sophia said. Isolate, control, gaslight, make you doubt your own financial competence while systematically hiding assets. What can I do? Sophia's smile was razor-sharp. Well, since you're named on that secret savings account, we can start by freezing it. Then we'll... The front door opened. Tyson's voice carried from the hallway. Paula, why is Faith's car outside? Sisters' night, Faith called back cheerfully, while Sophia silently gathered the papers. Hope you don't mind me stealing her. He appeared in the doorway, eyes narrowing at Sophia. And you are? Just leaving? Sophia said smoothly, standing. Paula, thanks for the recipe. Faith, see you at yoga. After they left, Tyson turned to me. New friend? Faith's friend, I said. We were discussing recipes. He studied me. You're not still upset about Vegas, are you? It's important for the business. Of course not, I smiled, thinking of those account numbers. I trust you completely with money. You know that. He relaxed, back to his patronizing self. That's my girl, always understanding. He kissed my forehead. I'm heading to bed. Big day tomorrow. Sweet dreams, I called after him, my smile never wavering. My phone buzzed with a text from Sophia. Tomorrow, 9 a.m, my office. Bring every financial document you can find. Time to play hardball. Another from Faith. David's ready when you are. Just say the word. I thought about all the times Tyson had patted my head, called me emotional, insisted I couldn't handle money. About Mum's treatments, about $80 allowances while he planned luxury Vegas trips. My reply was simple. I'm ready. One last text came through. From Brian to Tyson, but still logged on our shared iPad. Vegas, baby, just like old times. Natasha confirmed she's handling the special arrangements again. I took a deep breath, saved a screenshot, and headed upstairs. Tyson was already snoring, secure in his world of secrets and control. Sweet dreams indeed, honey, I whispered. Enjoy them while they last. Tomorrow would be a very big day indeed, just not the kind he was expecting. The router's acting up again, I announced over breakfast, watching Tyson's reflection in the toaster as I fiddled with my phone. Did you mess with the settings? He sighed, that familiar note of condescension creeping in. You know, technology isn't your strong suit. Must be the weather, I said, knowing full well I'd changed the Wi-Fi password last night. No more access to our shared cloud storage for him. I'll figure it out. As soon as his BMW disappeared down the driveway, I got to work. Amazing how much evidence you can gather when your husband thinks you're too stupid to operate a scanner. Every receipt, every bank statement, every suspicious email, copied, dated, organised. My phone buzzed. David, Faith's accountant friend. Found something interesting, he said without preamble. Those transfers to Natasha, they're coded as business expenses, but they're going to a personal account. How personal? Joint account, opened 3 years ago. My hand shook as I wrote it down. 3 years ago, right when Tyson started insisting we couldn't afford for me to keep my marketing job because one of us needs to manage the household. There's more, David continued. He's been moving your retirement fund money through shell accounts. Classic tax evasion scheme. Can you prove it? Already documenting everything. Sophia will have a field day with this. Speaking of Natasha, I grabbed my keys. Time to pay Tyson's office a visit. The receptionist smiled when I walked in. Mrs. Shepherd, what a surprise! Just dropping off some documents Tyson forgot, I said, patting my bag. Is his secretary around? Natasha? She's at lunch. With Mr. Shepherd, actually. Of course she was. I waited in my car, watching the restaurant across the street. They emerged an hour later, Tyson's hand lingering just a bit too long on her lower back. My phone captured every second. Got your proof? Faith asked when I called her. Enough to make a divorce lawyer salivate? I pulled into our driveway. But that's not even the worst part. What is? I remember her now. From 3 years ago, that business trip to Miami. The one Tyson said I couldn't attend because it was too expensive. Oh, God. Yeah, found the hotel receipts. 2 rooms, connecting doors. Guess who was in the other room? Faith's curse would have made a sailor blush. That absolute... Save it, I cut her off, hearing Tyson's car. He's home. Time for Act 3. I was in the kitchen when he walked in humming, happy from his lunch date, no doubt. Productive meeting? I asked innocently. Very. He loosened his tie. Hey, did you get the router fixed? Working on it. How's Natasha? He froze for just a fraction of a second. What about her? Just wondering. Saw you at lunch. That new Italian place looks nice. Business lunch, he said quickly. Budget reviews. Funny place for budgets. I stirred the pasta sauce. Isn't that where you took me for our anniversary, before money got tight? His face darkened. Are you spying on me? Spying? No, honey. I smiled sweetly. I'm being a dutiful wife, taking an interest in your work. Isn't that what you wanted, when you convinced me to quit my job? Paula, speaking of jobs, remember that marketing campaign I designed? The one that won an industry award? I pulled out my old portfolio. Found it while cleaning today, brought back memories. Ancient history, he snapped. You agreed staying home was better. Did I agree, or did you make it impossible not to? His phone rang. Brian. I heard snippets. Vegas, arrangements, Natasha, handling. I need to take this, Tyson said, heading upstairs. My phone buzzed with a text from David. Found the smoking gun, hidden trust fund, established before your marriage. He never disclosed it. That's illegal. Meeting tomorrow? Another from Sophia. Everything's ready. Say when. I looked at the portfolio in my hands, remembering the woman I used to be, the one who earned her own money, made her own decisions, didn't ask permission for groceries. Upstairs, Tyson laughed about something with Brian, probably congratulating himself on another day of successful manipulation. When? I texted back to Sophia, then to Faith. Tell David to bring everything tomorrow, all of it. One last message popped up, from Natasha to Tyson, misdirected to our shared iPad. Vegas arrangements confirmed, same as Miami, she'll never know. I saved the screenshot, added it to my evidence folder, and stirred the pasta sauce. Let him laugh. Let him plan. Let him think he's won. Tomorrow would change everything. The elevator doors opened to Tyson's office floor, and I straightened my blazer, the one I'd kept from my marketing days. Amazing how armour can look like business casual. Mrs. Shepherd, Natasha's voice was pure ice as I approached her desk. What a surprise! Mr. Shepherd is in meetings all day. Oh, I know. I placed a manila envelope on her desk. These are for you, actually. She raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. For me? Just some photographs. Miami, 3 years ago. That little Italian place from yesterday. I leaned in, dropping my voice. You really should be more careful with hotel receipts. The colour drained from her face. I don't know what I'm talking about. Save it. I'm not here for a confrontation. I straightened up. Just wanted to see you for myself. The woman worth throwing away 17 years of marriage for. She glanced at the envelope, then back at me. It's not what you think. No. I pulled out my phone, showing her the bank statements. So, these transfers to your joint account. That's not what I think either. That's complicated. Life's full of complications, isn't it? Like explaining to the IRS why business expenses are going into personal accounts. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Natasha. Vegas won't be happening. Not this time. The elevator ride down was surreal. In the mirrored walls, I caught glimpses of someone I barely recognised. Someone stronger than the woman who'd accepted $80 allowances and patted head dismissals. Faith was waiting in her car outside. How'd it go? She asked as I buckled in. She's scared. Not of me, of what I know. Good. That'll make her sloppy. Now, ready for phase 2? Phase 2 meant a trip to the post office, where I rented a P.O. box under my maiden name. Then to the bank, where a sympathetic manager helped me open a separate account. Financial independence is crucial, she said, processing my paperwork. Especially in situations like yours. Back home, I found Tyson pacing in the kitchen, phone pressed to his ear. What do you mean, acting weird? He was saying. Did she? No, that's impossible. She doesn't know anything. Yes, I'm sure. Look, just keep it professional until Vegas, okay? He hung up, startling when he saw me. Paula, how long have you been standing there? Just got home. Everything okay? Fine. He rubbed his neck. Work stuff. You wouldn't understand. Try me. It's complicated. Like Miami was complicated. The words slipped out before I could stop them. His face went through a rapid series of expressions. Surprise, fear, anger, finally settling on condescension. Honey, what are you talking about? Nothing. I forced a smile. Just tired. Think I'll lie down. He relaxed visibly. Good idea. You seem stressed lately. Maybe we should increase your yoga budget. As if he hadn't cut my yoga budget to 0 last month. Upstairs, I heard him on the phone again. Brian? Yeah, false alarm. Paula doesn't suspect anything. Everything's set for Thursday. No, she's clueless as always. My phone buzzed with messages. Sophia. Papers ready? David's evidence is solid. Green light whenever you're ready. Faith. Bank account active. PO, box keys secured. No trace to home address. David. Found 6 more hidden accounts, all documented. He's going down. And then, surprisingly, from Natasha. We need to talk, not what you think. There's more. I stared at that last one for a long time. More? What could be worse than secret accounts, hidden trusts, and 3 years of hotel receipts? Tyson's voice drifted up. Everything's perfect, Mom. Paula's finally learned her place. No more career nonsense, no more independent ideas. I thought of the blazer I was wearing, of my award-winning marketing campaigns, of the woman in the elevator mirrors who refused to be anyone's puppet anymore. Tomorrow, I texted Sophia. First thing. To Natasha. Starbucks, 7 a.m, come alone. To Faith. It's time. Downstairs, Tyson was still talking. Vegas will be perfect, just like old times. Paula doesn't suspect a thing. I opened my laptop, logging into our now frozen joint accounts one last time. In 48 hours, he'd be at the Bellagio trying to check in with cancelled cards and frozen funds. In 48 hours and 1 minute, he'd realised his clueless wife had outplayed him at his own game. But first, I had a coffee date with his secretary. Something told me Natasha was ready to do some talking of her own. I touched the blazer's collar, remembering the woman who used to wear it proudly. Time to bring her back. You're early, Natasha said, sliding into the seat across from me at Starbucks. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes. She looked nothing like the polished secretary from yesterday. Spill. I pushed a coffee toward her. What's more? She pulled out her phone, hands shaking. First, you need to know, I never slept with him. Those hotel rooms, they were for others. Others? Girls, young ones, Vegas, Miami, business trips. She showed me photos. I was the coordinator, setting up entertainment for his clients. My stomach lurched. The coffee turned to acid in my throat. You're telling me my husband is running a high-end escort service through the company? Yeah, that's where the money really goes. She laughed bitterly. The joint account, that's hush money. He's got dirt on me too. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Sophia, it's done, she said when I answered. All cards frozen, accounts locked, divorce papers filed. David's evidence is with the DA's office. Change of plans, I said, looking at Natasha. We need to add something. Already on it, Natasha cut in, pulling out a USB drive. Every transaction, every girl, every client, I've been documenting everything. My phone buzzed again. Faith. He's leaving for the airport. Brian just picked him up. Perfect timing. Send everything to this email, I told Natasha, scribbling Sophia's address. Then get somewhere safe. Back home, I poured myself a glass of wine and opened my laptop. Time to watch the show. First card decline came at 9:47 a.m, airport check-in. Second, at 9:49 a.m. Backup card, 3rd at 9:52 a.m. Business account. My phone exploded with notifications. Tyson. What did you do? Brian. What the hell is going on? Tyson's mother. How dare you embarrass my son? I ignored them all, watching through the airport's security cameras. Thank you, David, as Tyson had a meltdown at the check-in counter. His face turned redder with each declined card. Mom, the Bellagio's manager called. Mr. Shepherd's reservation has been cancelled as requested. His guests have been notified. Thank you. I sipped my wine. And the other matter? Police are aware of the situation. They're very interested in those financial records. By noon, Tyson's carefully constructed house of cards was burning. His phone must have been exploding too. Angry clients, scared girls, panicked conspirators. He burst through the front door at 2 p.m., face contorted with rage. You stupid bitch, he roared. What have you done? Me? I didn't move from my chair. I'm just a simple housewife who doesn't understand money, remember? The accounts, the cards, everything's frozen. Fascinating. Almost like someone who's named on those accounts finally decided to pay attention. He lunged forward, but Faith stepped out from the kitchen, phone raised. I wouldn't. Police are already on their way. Police? He laughed desperately. For what? Tax fraud, I said calmly. Money laundering? Running an illegal escort service? Take your pick. The colour drained from his face. How did you... Natasha says hi. She's very cooperative when she's scared. You don't understand, he tried, switching to his patronising tone. This is business. Complex business. You're emotional. Save it. I stood up as police sirens wailed in the distance. I understand perfectly. So does the DA. I'll destroy you, he snarled. You're nothing without me. No, honey. I handed him an envelope. Divorce papers. I was nothing with you. That's the difference. The police arrived with perfect timing. 2 officers I recognised. Faith's friends, briefed in advance. They were surprisingly gentle with the handcuffs. Mrs. Shepherd, one turned to me, we'll need your statement. It's Miss Hill, actually. I smiled at Tyson's shocked face. I'm reclaiming my name, along with everything else you stole. As they led him out, my phone buzzed one last time. Sophia, judge granted emergency asset freeze. House is yours. Bank accounts recovered. Want to hear something funny? What? His precious Vegas suite? I booked it. For you and Faith. Time for a real sister's trip. I looked at the wine in my hand. At Faith filming everything. At Tyson being placed in a police car. All those years of $80 allowances, of being patted on the head, of, you wouldn't understand. Turns out, I understood just fine. Vegas sounds perfect, I texted back. But first, I need to fix a leaky faucet. You've ruined everything. Tyson's mother burst into my kitchen the next morning, waving papers. Do you know what people are saying? What this will do to his reputation? His reputation? I poured coffee calmly. You mean the one he built trafficking girls through his business? She faltered for a moment before rallying. Lies. My son would never save it. I slid a folder across the counter. Bank statements, hotel receipts, witness statements. Your precious boy's been busy. These must be fake. But her hands trembled as she flipped through the pages. Ask Natasha. She's talking to the FBI right now. The doorbell rang. Sophia arriving for our morning meeting. Perfect timing. Mrs. Shepherd, she nodded to Tyson's mother. I see you've received our evidence package. You can't do this to my family. Your family? I laughed. Where was this concern when Tyson denied helping with my mother's cancer treatments? when he forced me to quit my career, when he was protecting you. Women like you need guidance with money. Women like me? I stood up. You mean successful marketing executives who gave up everything because their husbands manipulated them? Paula, Sophia touched my arm. The DA's waiting. Tyson's mother blocked the door. You're not going anywhere. This ends now. You're right. I pulled out my phone. It does end now. Want to see how? I played the video. Tyson's airport meltdown, his rage when the cards declined, his threats when he came home. Then, the security footage Natasha provided, showing him escorting young girls through hotel lobbies. Still want to defend him? I asked quietly. She sank into a chair, aged 10 years in 10 seconds. I didn't know. Yes, you did. You just didn't want to see it. My phone buzzed. Faith was at the police station. Tyson's asking for a deal, she texted. He's scared. Good, Sophia said, reading over my shoulder. Let him squirm. We have enough evidence to bury him. Evidence? Tyson's mother whispered. What evidence? Tax fraud spanning 7 years. Illegal escort service. Money laundering. Sophia ticked off points on her fingers. And that's just the criminal charges. Wait until we get to the divorce proceedings. Another text from Faith. Brian's talking. Says Tyson forced him to help hide money. Wants immunity. They're all turning on each other, I mused. Honor among thieves? Paula, please. Tyson's mother grabbed my hand. He's my only son. We can work something out. Like he worked things out with those girls, or with my mother's medical bills. I pulled away. No deals. The doorbell rang again. David, this time, carrying more files. Found 3 more accounts, he announced. Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Dubai. He noticed Tyson's mother. Oh, awkward. Those are personal accounts, she blurted. Family money. Sophia's eyes gleamed. Family money he never disclosed during the marriage. That's fraud, Mrs. Shepherd. More charges to add. My phone lit up with a call. Tyson. Paula, baby, please, he begged. I can explain everything. The girls, the money. It's not what you think. I was protecting you by trafficking teenagers. Business, entertainment. Everyone does it. Goodbye, Tyson. Wait, I'll give you anything. The house, the cars, full alimony. Too late. I hung up, blocked his number. His mother was crying now. He's sick. He needs help. He needs consequences, I corrected, for once in his life. Another text from Faith. Police want your statement. Ready? I looked around my kitchen, at the evidence scattered across counters, at Tyson's mother's crumpled form, at Sophia and David preparing for battle. Ready, I replied. Paula, Tyson's mother tried one last time. Think about what you're doing to our family. I am thinking about family. I grabbed my keys. I'm thinking about my mother fighting cancer alone because your son hoarded money for his escort service. I'm thinking about those girls' families, wondering where their daughters went. I'm thinking about every family he destroyed while you looked the other way. She had no response to that. Outside, Faith waited in her car. You okay? Never better. I buckled up, watching Tyson's mother shuffle to her car in defeat. Let's go make a statement. About the money? Faith pulled away from the curb. About everything. I touched the folder in my lap. Evidence of years of abuse, fraud, and crimes. Time for the whole truth to come out. My phone buzzed one last time. Natasha. FBI wants to talk. I'm telling them everything. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, I texted back. Be thorough. The truth was finally breaking free, and no amount of maternal pleading or desperate phone calls could stop it now. The courthouse hallway buzzed with whispers as I walked in. 3 months since Tyson's arrest, and the media circus hadn't died down. Prominent businessman's double life made for juicy headlines. Ready? Sophia squeezed my shoulder. Born ready. I straightened my blazer, the same one I'd worn to confront Natasha, now my power armor. Inside, Tyson sat with his legal team, looking smaller in his orange jumpsuit. His eyes locked onto mine, pleading. I looked right through him. All rise, the bailiff called. The judge, a stern-faced woman in her 60s, reviewed her papers. Quite the mess we have here, councillors. Your Honour, Tyson's lawyer started. My client... Save it, she cut him off. I've reviewed the evidence. The FBI reports are disturbing. Natasha took the stand first. Gone was the polished secretary, replaced by someone who looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Mr. Shepherd approached me 3 years ago, she testified. Said if I helped coordinate his entertainment services, he'd pay off my mother's medical debts. And these services involved? Recruiting girls, college students mostly, sometimes younger. Her voice cracked. He said it was just escort work, but I watched Tyson's face as she detailed everything. The hotels, the clients, the threats when anyone got scared. His mask finally cracked when she mentioned the offshore accounts. That's lies, he shouted. She's trying to save herself. Mr. Shepherd, the judge warned, control yourself. Brian testified next, throwing his old friend under the bus to save his own skin. Tyson handled everything. The money, the girls, the cover-ups. We just followed orders. And Mrs. Shepherd? He kept her in the dark, laughed about it, said controlling her money kept her docile. My hands clenched under the table. Faith, sitting behind me, touched my shoulder. David presented his financial evidence next. Spreadsheets, transfers, hidden accounts. Classic money laundering structure, he explained, using the escort service to clean illegal funds. Objection, Tyson's lawyer jumped up. Speculation. Overruled, the judge said. Continue. The evidence mounted. Text messages, hotel footage, bank records, each piece another nail in Tyson's coffin. Then came the bombshell. Your Honour, Sophia stood. We've just received new evidence. She handed over a flash drive. Miss Kelly wasn't the only employee Mr. Shepherd blackmailed. His former assistant came forward this morning. The courtroom screen lit up with emails, dozens of them. Tyson threatening employees, destroying careers, using company funds to silence witnesses. That's privileged information, Tyson's lawyer protested. Not anymore, the judge replied. These were submitted to the FBI's ongoing investigation. My phone buzzed. A text from Natasha. More witnesses coming forward. It's over. Tyson must have sensed it too. He leapt up, pointing at me. She's lying. She knew everything. She's trying to steal my money. Your money? I finally spoke, voice steady. You mean our money? The money you used to traffic girls while I begged for grocery money? Order! The judge banged her gavel. Mr. Shepherd, sit down. Paula, please, he tried again. Baby, we can work this out. The defendant will be silent, the judge snapped. Now, regarding the divorce settlement. Sophia stood. Given the evidence of financial abuse and criminal activity, we request full asset forfeiture and maximum punitive damages. Your Honour, Tyson's lawyer attempted, my client's business is forfeit, the judge finished, along with all personal assets. The FBI has priority on criminal charges, but regarding the divorce, she turned to me. Ms. Hill, the house and all unfrozen accounts are yours. Full separation granted, with restraining order approved. I heard Tyson's mother sob from somewhere behind me. As for criminal charges, the judge continued, that's for another court, but I'm ordering all evidence transferred to the FBI's Human Trafficking Division. Tyson slumped in his chair. defeated. Outside, reporters swarmed, but Faith and Sophia formed a protective barrier. "How does it feel?" someone shouted. "Taking down your husband's empire?" I paused at the courthouse steps. It feels like justice, not just for me, but for every girl he exploited, every employee he threatened, every life he tried to control. My phone buzzed again, this time from my old marketing firm. Saw the news. Position still open if you're interested. Faith read over my shoulder. Look at that. Full circle. "Ms. Hill," another reporter, "any message for your ex-husband?" I thought about the $80 allowances, the patted head, the controlled life. "Yes," I said clearly. "Money doesn't make you powerful. Truth does." As we drove away, I watched the courthouse shrink in the rearview mirror. Somewhere inside, Tyson faced his fate. But me? I faced freedom, and it looked a lot like justice. "Last box," Faith announced, dropping a container labelled kitchen onto my new apartment's counter. Though why you're keeping his precious budget spreadsheets is beyond me. "Oh, I have plans for those." I pulled out the stack of colour-coded papers. Tyson's financial control manifested in Excel format. My phone buzzed, Sophia with updates. Tyson had taken a plea deal, 15 years for trafficking, fraud and money laundering. His empire was ashes, his reputation destroyed. Most importantly, the girls were getting help, their families compensated from seized assets. "Ms. Hill?" My new marketing team lead poked her head in. "Sorry to interrupt your moving day, but we need input on the anti-trafficking campaign." "Coming." I grabbed my laptop. After the trial made headlines, my old firm didn't just rehire me. They put me in charge of a major awareness initiative, turning pain into purpose, as Faith called it. "Hold up." Faith grabbed the spreadsheets. "These need proper disposal." We headed to the building's courtyard, where Faith had already set up a small fire pit. One by one, we fed Tyson's control documents to the flames. "Remember this one?" I held up a sheet. "Grocery budget guidelines, with helpful tips like consider fasting and bulk beans are filling." "While he spent thousands on escorts," Faith snorted. "Burn it." The paper curled and blackened in the flames. My phone lit up. Natasha. "FBI found more accounts, sending details. Still cleaning up his mess?" Faith asked, more like following the money. "Each account leads to more victims, more witnesses." I watched another spreadsheet burn. "Every dollar he used to control people is now helping them heal." "Speaking of healing," Faith pulled out an envelope. "Remember that cancer treatment centre that rejected Mum because we couldn't pay?" "Hard to forget." "Well, guess who just got a massive anonymous donation? Enough to fund treatment for 50 patients. I smiled, thinking of the offshore account I'd discovered last week. How mysterious. "Paula," my team lead called again. "Campaign meeting." "Go," Faith waved me off. "I'll finish the ceremonial burning." Inside, my new office buzzed with energy. The anti-trafficking campaign was gaining traction, sparked by our story but growing far beyond it. Survivors were coming forward, corporations were changing policies, legislation was being drafted. "We have a problem," my assistant said as I sat down. "Tyson's mother is in the lobby. Send her up." She looked older, greyer when she walked in. "Paula, I needed to say something." "I'm listening." "I was wrong about everything, the way Tyson treated you, the things he did." She twisted her hands. "I enabled him, made excuses, and those girls. Why are you here? To give you this." She handed me a file. Tyson's trust fund, the original one from his grandfather. I was the trustee, but... She straightened her shoulders. "I'm signing it over to your foundation. For the victims." I opened the file. 7 figures worth of generational wealth, now redirected to healing the damage it had caused. Thank you, I said simply. She turned to leave, then paused. You know what the worst part is? I gave him an allowance too when he was young, to teach him responsibility. Instead, he learned to use money as a weapon. After she left, Faith texted, "Spreadsheets are ashes. What's next?" Through my office window, I could see the campaign posters being prepared, stories of survival, resources for victims, warnings about financial abuse. My team was reviewing social media responses, planning outreach programs, coordinating with law enforcement. Next, I texted back, "We keep turning weapons into shields." My assistant popped in. "Your mother's doctor called. The new treatment protocol is working." Another text buzzed through. From one of Tyson's victims, now in college on a foundation scholarship. "Got my business degree, starting a company to help women achieve financial independence." I looked at my desk, where a small frame held my first $80 allowance, preserved as a reminder, not of control, but of breaking free. The fire pit in the courtyard still smouldered, Tyson's spreadsheets nothing but ash. In their place, new spreadsheets filled my computer. Foundation budgets, survivor support funds, campaign metrics. Faith appeared in my doorway. "Ready for the shelter opening?" I grabbed my blazer, my armor, my victory flag. "Ready." "Hey," she caught my arm. "Remember what you said about grocery money last week?" "What about it?" "You bought premium coffee without checking the price. Didn't even flinch." I smiled, remembering the panic such a purchase would have once caused. "Freedom tastes better than budget beans." Together we headed out, past the burning spreadsheets, past the campaign posters, toward a future where money meant possibility, not prison. And I didn't check a single price tag along the way.